Afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Mark Igo along Joey McDermott here alongside me. And Joey, exciting day here at the Garden. We just had Don from the NFHS with us, and real excited to be a part of this again for, I don't know, I guess it's my 18th year when I go back to the print production side, but exciting time for My Hockey Live, and our fifth year of being involved here from a live streaming broadcasting standpoint with the NFHS TV network. But thanks for joining us.
It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you as a part of this. I know you got a good look at that last game. I was kind of running around a little bit, but I saw that Wachusett held on to a 3-2 victory there. But tell us a little bit about that game.
First period was all Wachusett. I think they had one. Something I noticed about Hopkinton, they only had 13 skaters dressed. So they got tired after power plays and penalty kills. But after that, after they took their timeout late when they had the legs, they looked really good.
Yeah. All right, Joey, sorry about that. All the games, they kind of just go in sequence, right? Catch up to us here. But as everybody heard, the Austin Prep Cougars, girls D1, getting ready to face off against Tewksbury Methuen Red Rangers. Austin Prep undefeated. We'll talk a little bit about that next. But, we were recapping the Wachusett Hopkinton, and only 13 skaters for Hopkinton.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I mean, when they had their bursts of energy, they looked like the better team, but Wachusett just had the depth, and they just kept pounding it on. And I think they realized with the short bench Hopkinton had that's how they had to play to their strength. Hopkinton almost had it at the end, though. Almost tied it. They had a few chances. Yeah,
I caught the very end of that, but, yeah, it looked like they had some opportunities there, and both teams obviously skated very well. The first game was the Wellesley Raiders against Notre Dame Academy Cougars. Also a 3-2 final there. That was an overtime game, a thriller. Those two teams, the talent on the ice was unbelievable. The goaltender for Notre Dame, an 8th grader, and then probably the player of the game for both teams was a 9th grader for Wellesley, and the two sisters, getting involved there with Emily Rourke, the older sister. The junior scoring the winning goal, so exciting time for Wellesley, back-to-back for them too. So,
awesome.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see them back here again next year. Those two teams are rolling. In Division III, though, it's interesting. Wachusett, Hopkinton. Last year we had Stoneham and Plymouth South. So always seems to be a different team coming in from Division III. I don't know if that's because of the number of teams that are involved.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to get into this game. So one stumble along the road and a great team could be out. So Hopkinton, they were a pretty low seed, I think. They went like 12-6, something like that during the regular season.
Yeah, they did come in, and it's not power seeded like the 1A is and things like that. So you do get, even in the girls' side, I want to say Wellesley and Notre Dame weren't necessarily the 1 and the 2. I think because of their records, and they play such tough schedules, like you said. But Hopkinton came in at 16-7-2. And Wachusett at 17-4-2. So, great seasons. What a great time of year, though, and what a great opportunity for these kids to step on the same ice as the Bruins who played here yesterday. And
great atmosphere. It really is. Something about this game, though, Tewksbury back-to-back games. That's unbelievable.
It is.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think the MIAA tries to do a good job there of, with the travel and obviously, fans bussing out and things like that and trying to make it, we see a lot of green in the stands now, but when Canton comes rolling in here, we'll have Canton and Duxbury later on this afternoon. Nothing but green for those two teams. But so Austin Prep Cougars on the ice right now from the girls D1 side. Again, very familiar with the Garden. They won it 2 years ago, and they come in undefeated. So only two teams coming into the Garden undefeated, the Canton boys, of course, and the Austin Prep girls.
Methuen and Tewksbury only one loss, though. Only one loss on the season, so almost as good.
Yeah, one loss on the season for them. And so what are you looking forward to the rest of the afternoon? We've got some big games coming up.
I love the Pope Francis BC High game. I think it's very interesting that Pope Francis knocked them off, and BC High had to go in through the losers bracket, beat Xaverian. They almost lost to Xaverian. They were tied for a while in that game, and now you wonder if Pope Francis probably knows that BC High is going to get their best game up for Pope Francis, and it'll be very similar to last year's, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you could see I did that game the other night, and Xaverian just ran out of gas, right? But they hung in there, like you said, the first period. They they were sneaking around, and then BCI was just too much for them. But I think we're going to see, with the open ice, obviously a larger sheet here than what they had in Framingham the other night.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of speed on both sides of that. But those two teams, they really play each other well.
A lot of offense for both teams, too. The next game, Winchester and Duxbury, 2 public schools. I expect a great atmosphere for that game. A lot of fans, I'm sure, will make their way out here.
Yeah, and I think the MIAA smartly put that towards the end. I mean, knowing that Pope Francis is going to have to travel back to Springfield, too. It is a school night for those folks, and so you got to remember that. We kind of forget that these kids are all high school students, but they got to go to school tomorrow. But somebody will be going with a little more hardware than the other, which, that's the tough thing after these games is, somebody's going to lose, But
that's the hardest part to watch, especially in overtime. It's devastating for the team that lose. But to make it this far, it's a success in its own.
Yeah, it really is. And so I think we're going to have the good fortune of Bill Gain joining us here next. So Joey will be back on covering all the games for us today from iHockey Live, and an intern through Bridgewater. And
it's been exciting.
Has it? Good. Well,
it's been a good experience.
Yeah, we're glad you joined us, and we certainly we encourage anybody to reach out to us that's interested in writing or covering hockey, both from a production or a communication standpoint. I know Pat Serio, who's behind the camera just about 99% of the time when we're doing these things, loves to have production help. And, there's only so many hours in a day, but Pat does a great job. So, Joey, you'll jump on with Jake again soon here, and we'll have Mr. Gain join us here, and we'll get ready to bring Bill on with us.